We're going to be doing a little bit of a special segment right now for everyone here with the Linesmen. Me and Nick, we're going to be discussing a little bit about these rule changes that just popped up today, how that might be affecting VAR and the officiating coming up here for the start of the Premier League.
Yep.
Give us a little info here, Nick. What are we working with?
Referees will now consider the intention of defenders and as well as like the consequences of contact and the degree of the contact when considering if a penalty should be awarded. So basically what that means, to boil it down, is they're going to stop giving out soft penalties. Like, I hate to say it, but the Raheem Sterling one.
I was going to say, so does that mean Sterling's just not effective anymore?
Like Sterling's flop in that box, that wouldn't be called a penalty. A lot of people were upset about that one. It's just to discourage players from going down from trivial offenses.
Yeah, so I see that they say trivial offenses. Do you think that means that, is that going to be super subjective?
It's definitely going to depend from ref to ref or linesman to linesman, but it's not going to, like, they're gonna cut down on that, those calls, those 50-50 balls that could go either way. Like if a player was late or like a little bit late and he just made a little contact on that on the player's foot or like the back of his heel or hit the ball and then hit the player, like those things are going to be stopped. Those things are going to stop getting called and like stopping the game and prolonging like the extra time, and that was really a big problem. Is just like the amount of time it took to decide like if a penalty should be given, like if a red card should be given, or if there was like a yellow card offense. Like it's all about condensing the time it takes to review a decision, and if it was like a spot kick or a free kick or a corner, handball, offsides, all that stuff. Like,
I'm just afraid, like, when they use a term like trivial offenses and they put it in quotations, is this going to be the new what's a catch in football, you know?
It could be.
Like, it's different for each referee.
But it's different. It's different from American football to European football. European football, it should be a free-flowing game where there's not that many not much ref interference. It's not a ref show, but sometimes it is. You know, like VAR in concept is a great thing that needed to be like created in order to have a fair game. But now it's just turned into something completely ridiculous that we're not going to cover in this. We're just going to cover the new rules that's going to go along with it. They're basically looking at if I go in, make a tackle on you, and it's a 50, like if it's a 50-50 and we both go for it and I hit you and then you hit me, it's basically like what's the consequence of that action?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like what did I mean to do there? What happened after the fact, and what was I trying to accomplish there?
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be the tough part there. It's like, you know, you have to now try to pretend or put your mind in the head of that player and really try to figure out what his intent was.
Yeah.
Like now it's up to the ref though to decide, like, was he really going for the ball there, or was he obviously just trying to get in the way?
Yeah. So
or was that an obvious dive, you know, to try to get the draw?
So there's obviously yellow cards for flopping and diving and selling these kind of things, but now it's definitely going to be. We'll probably see more. Like in the first couple of weeks, we'll definitely see more yellow cards for diving.
Popping up for diving.
And then actual penalties like last year. And then the next rule that they're going to change is the offsides. They're making they're making the offsides line thicker, so you can see the defenders like at the width of the defender's foot. So it's going to be like on the broadcast, it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
On the TV, and that will decide if a player is offsides or not. Because once you move that line up, it'll see where the player. It's like if you see the goal disallowance system on the line. Yep. It'll be like one of those. They'll have like an above camera.
Okay.
And foot.
That's going to be
the ball's like a sliver over the line. That's supposed to stop. That's supposed to narrow down the time of like a decision of a disallowed goal or an allowed goal.
Okay.
That I think that's a very good thing, because those offsides challenge, like those offsides VAR reviews were just like brutal. Because Sadio Mane versus Everton, he was onside 100%. That would have been a goal, but like that line was like kind of iffy, and like you kind of just saw the tip of his elbow.
Yeah.
Like that is excuse my language. That is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
like it has to be an obvious offsides. Shit, it has to be an obvious offsides for it to be like a serious offense.
Good. When I see this, I guess what first comes to mind for me is definitely hurting, players like Raheem Sterling, who do tend to have that around them where they flop, they drop. They're looking to pull those penalties. But I think that I see this kind of as a correction to kind of help out guys like Lukaku. I remember on one of the other episodes when we were talking about the Euros.
When they were playing the Russians.
When they were playing the Russians, and Lukaku's running through right at the top of the box, and they're literally pulling him back. But he's such a beast that they couldn't get him to the ground.
Yeah.
And all he needed to do was actually fall, and 100% would have been awarded a PK. Yeah. But because he doesn't do that, because he's a beast, he powered through and tried to make a play out of it anyways.
Yeah. It's helping the guys who are trying to play and not looking for the call, who actually want to go towards goal and have an actual shot instead of having a PK. I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. See, now that makes it sound a lot different to me, and that makes me excited for it because it gets that softness out of the game that so often is like the easy thing to pick fun at for soccer.
Yeah.
Like if it's not your sport, like that's everybody's falling. Oh, everybody looks like they're so hurt. And it's like, well, for so long they've had to do that or they weren't going to get the call.
Yeah.
And now it's gotten so bad that we almost need to thank guys like Sterling. We got to thank these guys that were just so bad at acting that it's forced a rule change finally to kind of shorten out those games, stop these long clocks or these long stoppages for no reason. A guy who's pretending to limp around just to do it to waste time.
And now moving on, kind of still with the offsides thing, just real quick. When they were doing the VAR, you could see the guys, like the VAR official drawing the line.
Yep.
Fans will no longer be able to see that.
Oh.
They will only see the official ruling for offsides.
Interesting.
They won't be showing the guy who has had like minimal Photoshop experience. Like drawing the line, but so now it's just going to be decisive imaging only on like penalties, handballs.
Interesting. That might be tough to swallow. We'll have to see how that comes out.
I'll accept that because obviously the human error part of it is huge.
It is real,
and if you see the human error, it just makes you more angry. By saying like it's gonna make like fans less frustrated seeing that human error instead of just seeing the final result. Which is disappointing and frustrating.
Yeah,
but less frustrating than seeing the guy fuck up.
Yeah, just being like, all right, it's clear. Like this is so obvious how he's calling. I guess that. But on the other side, like I always feel like I want to know.
Yeah.
Like I need to know. Like, was he really off though? Like I have to, as a fan, like I have to know. Otherwise, my ass will just be arguing till the cows don't come home. Because they've already made it to the slaughterhouse and they're not even there anymore. I'm still talking about it. I will argue for that long.
And another one another big one that they're coming out with is handballs leading up to a goal. Handballs now, if they lead up to a goal, will not disallow the goal.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a big FU to Suarez right there.
So basically what's going on...
We talked about Suarez twice today. That's kind of wild.
I know. So like it's kind of like the NHL, like if there's an offsides in the NHL, that whole play, it could be like
has pulled back.
They could have like a minute and 30 seconds of like opposition ice time, getting like pucks on net, everything like peppering the goalie, and they finally get one goal disallowed because of offsides. That shit happened like fucking 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like
stop it then. Yeah, exactly.
If you look, like I think that's great with like having, but I mean hockey's a lot harder to judge offsides than soccer.
Yeah,
is.
Dragging that back toe.
Yeah. So obviously, but they can have someone in the booth looking at that, and they could just call it. They could blow the whistle dead if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they kind of just tweak the language of like a handball, like it's like a player who is making his body unnaturally bigger. That's the new.
So now it's not just in an unnatural position; it's unnaturally bigger.
So if I'm sliding,
adding surface area.
If I'm sliding to you and I have my hands out, hit my hands
like you're listening to Miley Cyrus.
Yes, that's that'll be rewarded a handball, or if you obviously like try to knock it down. Like, did you see the kid on the Seattle Sounders?
No.
He legit went up for a header and he had his hand like this up against his face, and he like kind of like just did one of these, like he like did that and hit it in his hand. Like the fucking ref saw it from like a mile away. He's like, that's not a goal. And he was like, what are you talking about? He was like,
just playing down.
They showed the replay from behind the goal, and you see him fucking
punch the ball
into the back of the net. And I'm like, oh, that is so Suarez.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's a good. I think that's a good rule. I like that rule change as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, so far it sounds like I'm gonna enjoy these rule changes.
Yeah. And the best part about it is strictly Premier League.
Good.
Or the worst part about it, whichever one.
No, I think that's the better way to do it because it's a longer season, and I think that it's not going to affect it as much as it might for champions or for an FA.
Yeah.
So it's good. We'll see it in this. We'll see how it works for a full season. And if they're good changes, I'm sure that that'll be very, very much adopted throughout the world of soccer.
And another minor rule not related to VAR. The Premier League will go back to 3 subs a game. No more 5 subs. Keep it natural, man.
I like having more subs. So I like being able to see other people come in, young players.
Yeah, I like seeing that too. But the 3 subs, I think it's like a little more strategy.
If they do it that way, then I
planning.
hope teams like Man City will drop off some of their talent that's just sitting there rotting away and letting some of these other teams like actually have players.
Which one's like the shitty button? I don't want to hit any buttons there, but I want to make a noise for City. Let's see.
Make it.
Boo!
Yeah,
we're not clever for City. I'm just hitting buttons now. Damn, Justin, which one's the bad button?
It's gotta be
Green one.
Oh, I didn't know. We'll cut that out.
You fool.
Yeah.
So that's good because if it is down to 3, then maybe that will kind of open up the rosters a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe
it'll allow some of these lower teams to actually be able to buy players when they're young and coming up and have a star in their team for a couple years before they get bought out by City.
Fuck City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
this is all
I'm
going
in.
against City.
Yeah, seriously.
I love to see it.
I love it. Against Sterling for Lukaku.
Yeah. I mean, that's all the rule changes we have for you folks.
If you would like to learn more, definitely look into it. Reach out to us on Instagram at the Linesmen. Send us some DMs. We'll definitely have a Discord. Let us know if this is something that you are for or against.
Yeah. This is the Linesman.
Next time.